In this section, we're going to talk more in detail about lines, and we're going to begin by doing a quick review on finding slope. So remember that slope is a measure of how steep a line is. Slope is denoted by the letter M. And we have two formulas that we use to find the slope. We can use the formula M is equal to rise over run if we are looking at a graph, or we can use the formula M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and this formula is typically used if we are given 2 points. So we'll go ahead and take a look at a couple of examples. So our first example says to find the slope of the line between the point 45 and the point 10. Now what I want to do is show you both formulas for finding this slope, so depending on the situation you'll be able to use whichever one fits best. Alright, so I'm going to begin by looking at the formula that has that the slope is equal to rise over run. Now remember that this is their best choice if you're looking at a graph. And so you want to start with one of the 2 points. It doesn't really matter which one. I'm going to start with point A at the bottom, which is the point 10. And you want to either go up or down towards the other point. So I'm going to go up. And as I go up, I'm going to count. So that's one block, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so this is going to be my rise. Now, if I had gone in a down direction, I would have made that negative. But because I'm going up, I'm going to keep it positive. And so I can go ahead and plug in a rise of 5. And then my run is going to be moving either left or right towards the point. Right? So in this case, I'm going to move to the right, and I'm going to count as I go. So that's 1 block, 2 blocks, and 3 blocks. And this is going to be my run. And again, it's going to be positive if I'm moving towards the right, and it's going to be negative if I'm going back to the left. All right, so by looking at my graph, I can see that the slope is going to be 5 over 3. Now, let's take a look at the other formula. So the other formula goes directly from the points. So I would have the point 10 and the point 45. Now, as you may recall in a previous section, we made a point of labeling these points so that we didn't put things in the wrong place. So we took this 10 and we said that's our first point, and so it's going to have the first x, so x1, and the first y, so y1. And then the point 45, that's the second point, so it's going to contain the second x and the second y. So once we have that labeled, I'm going to go ahead and jot my formula down. So remember, your formula for slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then we're going to place the numbers in the right place. So in place of this y2, I am going to put a 4. No, I'm sorry, I'm going to put a 5. And in place of the y1, I'm going to put 0. In place of the x2, I'm going to put the 4. And in place of the x1, I'm going to put the 1. And so once I plug in all my numbers, then I can do the algebra. 5 minus 0 is 5. 4 minus 1 is 3. And you can see that in either case, by using either formula, you get the same answer for the slope. All right, we're going to try one more. We're going to do it the same way. We're going to look at rise over run, and then we're going to look at the formula. All right, so for rise over run, remember that you're going to pick a point and use that as your starting point. It doesn't really matter which point you pick. This time, just for the sake of doing it differently, I'm going to start with the point -1, 2, right? And I'm going to either move up or down towards my other point. So in this case, I would need to move down, and I'm going to count as I go. So that's 1 block, That's 2, 3, and 4. Now, because I moved down, that rise is going to be a negative 4. All right, and now for the run, I'm either going to go left or right towards the point. In this case, I'm going to go left. So 1 block, 2 blocks, and because I'm moving to the left, it's also going to be negative. And so my slope is going to be negative 4 over negative 2, which is going to be 2. If I'm going from the points, I'm starting with the point negative 1, 2, and then I have the point negative 3, negative 2. Remember that it makes sense to label these points. And so we have x1, we have y1, we have x2, and we have y2. And that's just going to help you as you plug stuff in to put it in the right place. So I'll write my formula down. And then we'll look at plugging in. In place of the y2, I'm going to put a negative 2. In place of the y1, I'm going to put a positive 2. In place of the x2, I'm going to put a negative 3. And in place of the x1, I'm going to put a negative 1. And so now we'll simplify. Negative 2 minus 2 is going to be negative 4. And negative 3 minus a negative 1 is going to be negative 2. And again, we end up with a slope of 2. So regardless of the formula that you use, for this particular problem, the slope of that line is going to equal 2.